Alright, so today I'm talking about buying land in the metaverse. If you've never heard of this concept before, this video is going to blow your mind because people are spending millions of dollars on buying virtual land in a virtual world to make virtual money. So in today's video, I want to show you exactly how these people are making money, who's selling this land, where you can buy it, and ultimately if this is something you should start investing in. Before we get into it, I just want to quickly say that this video is not sponsored. It's 100% free, so what you do with this information is completely up to you. It's crazy though, because I remember when my parents were my age, they already had me, they had stable jobs, they had a physical, real house that they could live in and make delicious food inside of and not get cold in the wintertime. And meanwhile, there's me. I own a rabbit that spits out rainbows out of its mouth on my phone, which is basically the same thing, Mom. So today I want to get deep inside of this idea of buying land in the metaverse because apparently someone spent $2.4 million buying land in the metaverse, which is hard to wrap your head around because if you think about it, the metaverse is supposed to be infinite. There's not just one, there's many. So how is it that buying land in a place that's limitless make any financial sense at all? That's what we're going to try to figure out by the end of this video. So if you're skeptical, you have come to the right place because when I first heard about this, I was skeptical. I'm still skeptical. And when I first heard about it, my reaction is probably like yours. But that's so silly. Why would you? Wait, what is it? Wait, so you're saying that? So the longer you watch this video, I promise the more you'll progress through those phases. So let's get right into it. Hi, my name is Andre Jick. Hope you're doing well. Come for the finance and stay for the land before time. It's a tree star, Littlefoot. Remember that cartoon? Alright, so it's not land before time, but it is land inside the metaverse, which is kind of like land inside the physical world, except it isn't because you can't physically go there. So let me share with you some mind-blowing numbers as far as how much money people are spending on it, and then we'll get into the cool stuff. So the first one is from the Metaverse Group, which is a Canadian real estate investment company in the digital space that bought 116 parcels of land, each about 52.5 square feet, for a grand total of 6,090 square feet, which is not huge. Just for context, that's roughly the size of 3 tennis courts or about 1 basketball court, or a little bit bigger because a basketball court is about 4,700 square feet. And for that amount of land, they paid 618,000 mana, which is another cryptocurrency that by today's valuation is worth roughly $3 million. Now that was the biggest digital land acquisition in history until recently when that record was smashed by another company called Republic Realm. Republic Realm is another digital investment company that spent $4.3 million buying virtual land inside of Decentraland, which is another very popular metaverse. It's also the same company that created the ultra luxurious Metaflower, which is a mega yacht with a hot tub, a DJ booth, and 2 helicopter landing pads, and all it's missing is Doug DeMuro to review its quirks and features. Now someone bought that yacht for 149 Ethereum, worth about 650,000 US dollars, which is crazy to me because this year I bought a house for just a little bit more than that. Now don't get me wrong, a house is kind of cool and all, but it's nowhere near as cool as this yacht that lives permanently on my phone and can do this, look. Oh snap. No, I'm just kidding. But seriously, people are spending an insane amount of money on non-real, non-physical assets, and on the surface, it looks as though it's driven purely by hype and speculation, and I want to get to the bottom of it to see if we're in a bubble or if there's something more to it than that, because the answer actually shocked me. According to Grayscale Trust, which by the way is a group of really wealthy investors, they say the metaverse is a $1 trillion opportunity. That's $1 trillion in revenue per year. Right now, no company in the world comes even close to making that kind of money, and the land is supposed to play a big part of that revenue in the metaverse. So the question is, how is buying something that is limitless supposed to make you money? The answer is, it's not limitless. There's a limited amount of this digital land, the same way that there's a limited amount of digital bitcoins. Just because they're digital doesn't mean there's an infinite amount of them. If we compare that to real physical land, you'll start to kind of see the difference because physical land seems like it has an advantage, right? Because right now we have real world applications. Physical land is something we can use agriculture for, we can build houses on top of, we can host live events. There's lots of things we can do with land. And land in the physical world is not infinite. There's clearly a limited amount of land, so it should be valuable, right? But it's not always valuable. Take a look at this example. If you want to buy 1 whole acre in New Mexico that's here in the US, you can do that right now for $50. If that's not enough and you want 12 whole acres, which is the equivalent of about 9 football fields, you could do that right now for a whopping $450. The point is, not all land, even in the physical world, has any value, in that it depends on the location and its network effect. Now, when it comes to making money from this virtual land, the strategy right now, at least the short-term one, is to buy the land and to sell it to someone who wants to pay you more money for it, which can sometimes work. But the long-term strategy, and the real reason that people are spending millions of dollars on land, is because they are speculating that someday the land they own will become a place where people come together by the millions, kind of like Facebook is today. Kind of like where Central Park was decades before anyone knew what Central Park would eventually become. So they are speculating that their land will eventually become that place. Now, a way to make money with this land is to charge fees to people that come here. So for example, if you want to host live events, you can charge fees for people that go there. You can also lease your land to someone else and let them take care of it while you charge them fees. Or you can actually host live events with video games or even live concerts. A great example is Justin Bieber just last month in November put on a free concert in the metaverse. Now, it was mostly a publicity stunt for the company that created it, but a lot of people tuned in from all over the world to watch Justin Bieber sing in the metaverse live. And it wasn't perfect, but people enjoyed it more than they thought they would, because who would have guessed that people don't always want to go to a live concert considering everything that's going on around the world. So this land has real-world practical applications too. Another great example is Snoop Dogg, the D-O-double-G himself, partnered with Sandbox to build a virtual mansion that will house his NFT collection. People can go up to it and walk through it, interact with him, and he'll eventually put on concerts for them. And you can even buy land all around his mansion, which, love that or hate that, has a lot of value to a lot of people. All of this stuff will be a part of how people will make money with land in the metaverse. But this next part is where they'll make most of that money. And that is video games. Here's a great example. There's a super popular video game that's called Axie Infinity. Now this game has over 360,000 players all around the world, with roughly 40% of those people coming from the Philippines and many others coming from Africa. Now this game is known as play to earn, and it's played on the blockchain, and for playing this game successfully, people earn something called SLP, or Smooth Love Potion, which has real dollar value behind it. And here's why that's so important. Let's look at Ghana, which is a country in West Africa with a minimum wage of $2.05 per day. The living monthly wage there is $111.50, but get this, the average Axie Infinity player in Ghana is making anywhere between $140 to $420 a month. That is incredible. Video games like Axie Infinity are literally changing lives all around the world, and imagine what they'll do once they go global and get to the size of games like Minecraft and Valorant and League of Legends and Dota and whatever else kids play these days. Still playing Kingdom Hearts, what's up? But the way that land is integrated into these video games is that game developers create these plots of land as NFTs, non-fungible tokens for players to buy that they can upgrade, that they can farm, they can level up their creatures on and upgrade them, ultimately making them more money with. And you laugh now, but the highest plot of land sale in the land of Axie Infinity, which is called Lunacia, sold for $2.5 million. It was what's called a Genesis plot of land, and there was only 220 ever made, and it came with its own special perks and benefits for players to level up their creatures with. If I was a kid and I played Final Fantasy VII as a play-to-earn game, I would have spent all of my parents' money playing inside the Golden Saucer, because that's where I spent most of my time, and that attention is extremely valuable, and companies will pay insane amounts of money for that. If you're still not convinced though, there's something else called crypto voxels, which is another very popular metaverse that's based on the Ethereum blockchain, which allows the people that own land there to create virtual museums and galleries to display their NFTs. So imagine going to a museum or gallery with some of the most expensive NFTs ever bought and sold. That's kind of cool. Wow, did someone actually spend $12,000 on a Spider-Man NFT? So now let's talk about where you can actually buy this land. Before we buy the land, I think a really legit question is, who is selling us this land? Like, this is a question I've always had for billionaires that own islands. People like David Copperfield, who own 11 islands called Musha Key. Who sold him the islands? I proclaim these islands to be mine. Want to cop some? The people that are selling us these virtual plots of land are the developers of that specific metaverse, because remember, there's not one metaverse, there are many. One popular one is Lunacia from the game Axie Infinity that I told you about. But when most people talk about buying land in the metaverse, they're usually referring to the two most popular ones. The first place is called Sandbox, and it was created in 2012. They have a limited amount of 166,000 plots of land. So again, it is limited, and their focus is on allowing their users to create their own NFTs and video games, which is pretty cool. They partnered with people like Snoop Dogg, Ubisoft, SoftBank, and OpenSea, and they raised over $93 million in their first round of funding, so very funded. The second place that people are referring to is something called Decentraland, which was created in 2015, and they also have a limited amount of 90,601 parcels of land. Now, they are also very heavily funded, but they also hosted a live event with over 80 music artists. Anyone could join the concert. You didn't need to own land, you could just go there and watch, but you could see how buying strategic land at a place like that could someday become valuable. Then there's also Meta, which is Facebook's metaverse approach, which is more of a centralized approach to this digital universe, and we're gonna see a lot more of that in the future as publicly traded companies will want a piece of this industry. What they'll find out the hard way though is that the reason we find this stuff is so exciting is because it isn't owned by any publicly traded companies. We're just creating these communities for independent artists and people to go there and create and to share their experiences, and we are not the end product where we have to give up our valuable data. And that is also why there's not going to be one metaverse. There are going to be many that are competing for your attention and what you find most valuable. But now let's talk about some of the risks and downsides to investing in it. Don't get me wrong, it's a great idea to be early as an investor, but there is a phase of technology when it's just too early. And as of right now, I've never heard of anyone, or I don't know anyone personally, that's ever made money through owning land. Now, yes, I've heard of people buying and selling land by flipping it to someone else, but as far as real-world utility is concerned, I haven't seen it to the degree that it's super profitable just yet. At the end of the day, the metaverse is a high-fidelity version of a website. Maybe it's VR. But then again, do you need a limited, highly exclusive, very expensive plot of land to display your products? Or can you buy a $10 version of some land somewhere like you can a website? It's just too early to tell. That's why most investors we hear about are multi-million-dollar investors that can speculate and throw in a couple $1,000,000 because if they lose, it's no big deal. But if they win big. You have to bet big to win big. For me, it's just too early. If there's one thing that you take away from this entire video, let it be this next part, which is the lesson about the $1,000,000 homepage. Take a look. Back in my day of 2005, when the internet was becoming more popular, a college kid from the UK came up with a brilliant idea to fund his college tuition. It was called the $1,000,000homepage.com. It exists today, and it's a web page that has 1,000 pixels wide by 1,000 pixels high. In other words, 1 million pixels inside of it. Anyone could buy a tiny little pixel to advertise their company or their service. The idea of this spread like wildfire around the internet. People thought, this is so brilliant. If this idea spreads so fast, this is the clever way that people will market themselves in the future on the internet. This is the future of advertising and search engines. I will buy myself a square. He charged people $1. Before you knew it, all of the squares were sold out, and it made Alex $1,000,000. Now, the people that bought these squares never really saw a return on their money, but it made the creator rich. This story has a parallel to what's going on in the world of the metaverse and land and NFTs, because the only guaranteed winners that are this early in the game are the people selling you the dream of owning land. Now, don't get me wrong, the metaverse is absolutely going to become the future, just like we knew the internet was going to become the future. But what we didn't know was how the internet would look like in the year 2021, in the same way that we have no idea what the metaverse will look like 10 years from now. we could guess, but most people are gonna end up being wrong. I'm almost positive that the young kids playing games like Axie Infinity and buying plots of land today are going to become the future millionaires of tomorrow. It's just too early to say who they are or when that will happen, so in the meantime, if you want to learn more about NFTs, come check out the Magic Club. I just launched it. It's a Discord where I go live every 2 weeks. I give away NFTs, I show you what I'm buying. It's an awesome community for all the Omi homies to get together and learn, and I hope to see you there. In the meantime, enjoy the rest of your day, smash that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, go grab up to $250 worth of free Bitcoin from BlockFi, blockfi.com/Andre, grab your 2 free stocks with Webull, go track them automatically, links are down below. Love you, thank you so much for watching this video. I'll see you back here on Monday and Friday, sometimes a Wednesday. See you soon, bye-bye.